Alright, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. Some positive bodybuilding news this weekend. Starting out with Logan Franklin. So as you guys know, Logan Franklin competed in this weekend's Sean Ray Hawaiian Classic in the Classic Physique category, where he was hoping to qualify for the 2022 Mr. Olympia after having to sit out this year's Olympia due to lack of qualifying. Between the Texas Pro and the Arnold Classic, he was not able to squeak out an Olympia qualification this year, but he changed that by winning this weekend's Sean Ray Hawaiian Classic, so he will be going to the 2020 Olympia. He punched his ticket for that show there this weekend. In my opinion, a relatively easy win for Logan Franklin. In second place, you had Damian Patrick. In third place, you had Chavis Higa. In fourth place, Vladimir Sizov. And in fifth place, Shin Kodama. So congratulations to Logan, and I'm sure myself, like many of you, are looking forward to see how he will place in the Classic Physique lineup this year, next year. And I think a lot of people after the Texas Pro that we saw Logan compete in prior to the Arnold, we were hoping to see him and Steve Lorius both qualify for the Olympia this year. So Steve Lorius is still a guy that I would like to see qualify maybe down the line for next year's Olympia, but we got Logan there. Now, next up in the news, Carlos Thomas Jr., the amateur bodybuilder that the bodybuilding world has really been looking pretty closely at lately. He has had a lot of really impressive physique updates. He's coached by one of the best coaches in the game right now, Patrick Torr, who also coaches Ian Valliere, and James Hollingshead, both, just to name a few IFBB pros that he coaches. He's currently coaching Carlos Thomas Jr., and Carlos just competed this weekend, winning the overall and punching his ticket to NPC Nationals. Now, I spoke to someone close to Carlos that sent me some of these videos, and he was saying this was their plan, was to kind of come in around 85% for this show, kind of a warm-up for Nationals, get to Nationals, and that's going to be the big dance. That's going to be where he brings his more competitive, more conditioned package, which I'm glad to hear, because after seeing him compete this weekend, I thought he looked really good, and my only criticism would have been that for next time, come in a little bit tighter, and that is their plan, to come in about 15% sharper than they came in here, and everything here was according to plan. I think we got, what, like 4 more weeks till Nationals? And to me, this feels a lot like when we were looking at Nick Walker. When Nick Walker was an amateur, I felt like he was so far ahead of the other guys in the NPC, Nick was, and I think this is kind of the similar thing with Carlos. I was looking at that lineup, and I was like, man, he's so far ahead of these guys. Easy win for him. But then at the NPC Nationals, that's going to be his real test. That's going to be where he's going to be trying to earn his pro card. And he's going to be going up against the other guys that are the best of the best in the NPC. And they are also there. They're nationally qualified, and they're also there to earn a pro card. So nobody there is really going to be caught lacking or messing around. That's going to be kind of the test for Carlos. And really the test for his conditioning, because clearly the size and roundness is not an issue for him. He has no problem coming in full. He has no problem coming in big. He has no problem controlling his midsection, keeping a small waist while coming in big and full. Crazy legs, crazy proportions, crazy round arms, crazy round muscle bellies. This guy, crazy all around. It's hard to believe that we're looking at an amateur bodybuilder looking at this video. And I suppose I should mention, for those of you guys who might not know who Carlos is, he is the shorter guy in what appears to be dark green trunks. Actually, they might be like a charcoal or a dark gray color, but they look kind of green to me. But anyway, he's the shorter guy, clearly the most muscular guy on stage, if you guys don't know who he is. But yeah, keep your eye out for Carlos at NPC Nationals. He's a guy that I really think has a shot at turning pro. I think he is a pro caliber physique. He's working with a pro caliber coach. He's nationally qualified. He's going to Nationals, and really insane genetics. I can't wait to see what he does. And don't be surprised if we see him turn pro here in about a month. He could be the next Nick Walker story of a guy that turns pro and immediately starts placing pretty well at shows. Keep in mind, at Nick's first show, the Chicago Pro, he was 4th place. So maybe we see Carlos come in and being the first call out at one of his first shows too. I think that's entirely possible. And now a word from our sponsors over at Labrada Nutrition. Come on. Now, next up in the news, Cedric McMillan. We haven't heard from Cedric basically at all since his Legion Sports Festival appearance, up until this weekend where he did a guest posing for an NPC show. So at this weekend's NPC Armed Forces Nationals, we got to see Cedric do a guest posing, which I was really excited to see if he was going to show up or not, and I was really happy to see that he did show up, because at the Legion Sports Festival, after prejudging, Cedric was not going to be in the top 6. However he found out, after prejudging, he saw that, and he did not show up for the night shows. And the reason that he gave was that he wasn't feeling well. And obviously, that's not what we want to hear from a bodybuilder after all the recent passings that we've seen in this industry. So we didn't know if it was physical. We didn't know if it was mental. Maybe just the mental, it's mentally draining maybe for a guy like Cedric, a top-tier, top-caliber guy, at a show that was pretty competitive. But under normal circumstances, a prime Cedric McMillan would have had no problem winning that show. For him to not even place would probably be pretty embarrassing. So he didn't show up for the night show there. The only thing that we heard from him after Legion was him posting a story saying, well, it's official, I suck. Those are his words, not mine. I don't think he sucks. And then he was scheduled to be in that big Rami show, that KO Pro show in Egypt. He was scheduled to compete there, obviously. Did not show up there, did not compete despite being on the scorecards and competitor list. So honestly, I've been kind of worried about Cedric. His social media has been really pretty quiet. He didn't show up to those 2 shows, the night show and then the whole show for Egypt. I was glad to see that he looks like he's healthy here. He looks like he's still in shape. He looked like he was happy here. People at the show said he was talking to him. He was interacting with people. He was very friendly and very sociable there, at least outwardly appearing to be very friendly and happy. So look, I wanted to include this in this video because I'm just happy to see that Cedric is okay. I'm happy to see that Cedric showed up, fulfilled his commitment, and just wanted to send some positive vibes to Cedric. Whatever it is he's going through, we want to see him pull through. A lot of us are fans of Cedric here, and whatever he's going through, I'm sure that his fans will be here to support him. So just wanted to give some encouraging words to Cedric and say welcome back. We hope to see you back on a pro stage in the very near future, and I hope you're feeling better. Now, next up in the news, I actually wanted to bring this up because I thought it was really cool. So there was a natural bodybuilding show called the Natural Physique Federation, the NPF. They had a natural competition this weekend called the Sandow Show. And this is just a random kind of thing that I wanted to include here because a guy that I'm familiar with, Andrew Plumley, he competed in the Mr. Cincinnati and won the Mr. Cincinnati a few years back, which is a natural show around here. He was competing there and he won first place. And the prize money there for a natural bodybuilding show was $2,000 for first place, and I actually thought that was really impressive. Truth be told, there's a lot of divisions in the IFBB where if they do a smaller show, they might only be taking home a couple $1,000s. So for a natural show that's not NPC, it's not IFBB, it's some kind of random smaller pro-natural organization. I just thought it was really cool to see that they were paying this well for first place at a natural show, $2,000, and then $1,200 it looks like to second, and then third place $800. I would like to see more of this. I didn't know that there was natural shows that were paying like this, and it kind of makes me want to compete in a natural show again. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the NPF. I thought that was really impressive that they were paying that well, and really pretty cool. Now, next up in the news, I wanted to talk about the 2 latest physique updates from Lord Jones, a.k.a. Bryan Jones, a.k.a. former top 5 placer at the Classic Physique Mr. Olympia, announced after this year's Olympia that he was going to be switching over to men's open bodybuilding. Now, we noted that even while competing in Classic Physique, he had kind of a men's open physique from the standpoint of very big, very full, and very round, especially his upper body. And especially in these poses, the side tricep and the side chest that you can see here, very full, very round, very crazy upper body. Now, I believe in a previous post, he said he's weighing about 231 here. So he's a pretty big guy. And I believe according to the pro rules, he can jump in any show that's not the Olympia or the Arnold Classic as a men's open guy if he wants to. But I believe he's going to take about a year to make that full transition to grow into men's open. And I think this is going to be a really exciting transition to see. I think he brings something special to men's open bodybuilding that you don't see every day. With the structure that he's got, the aesthetic look that he's got, the classic physique background, and the posing that he's going to bring over to men's open, I think is going to be really valuable. And we were speaking of Cedric McMillan earlier in this video. He's a guy that reminds me a lot of Cedric McMillan from the standpoint of the way he poses, the way that his structure actually looks. He's a little bit of a taller guy. He's a more aesthetic guy, obviously, coming from Classic Physique, and he's got kind of that round fullness in his upper body that Cedric really kind of used to have more so than he has now. And I think it's going to be exciting. And I personally think that Bryan Jones is going to be able to accomplish some pretty big things in men's open. So just something to keep our eyes on while he's making this transition. But yeah, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Please give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and please subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed yet already. As always, I love you guys. I appreciate all the support. And again, make sure to like the video. It helps out a ton with the algorithm, especially now they're doing this thing disabling the dislikes. It makes the likes even more valuable and even more important. So get that number of likes up because now the dislikes don't matter. All right, Nick Strength and Power signing out.